He cracked the lottery system. The film opens in a small town called Ivart, where we see a married couple driving their car to buy lottery tickets. They aren't expecting much luck, as they've discovered a way to mathematically predict winning the lottery, but their story begins a little earlier. Every day, Jerry wakes up wondering if this will be his last job change, because he might be fired. He works at a breakfast cereal factory, where he manages one of the departments. One day, speaking to the managers, he mentions that, despite his age, he is still capable of managing his department. He has worked at the factory since he was young. However, the company owners mocked him, thanking him for his long service. They had long since decided it was time for him to retire, and they even shut down his conveyor belt. Eventually, Jerry was forced into retirement. He worked nights, didn't he? Tonight, he and his wife are having a family dinner. He doesn't show his pain. His family is encouraging him, because not everyone can work the same job for 42 years. His children, wanting to encourage him, give him a boat. Even though Jerry is happy to receive this gift, the pain of losing his job doesn't leave him. It's going to be an adjustment. You'll find your way. Is that true? Not really, but I don't have a boat. A month goes by, and Jerry still hasn't tried the new boat. One day, he's having coffee at the local shop, and runs into his friend Steve, who asks him how much his bank account has grown. Speaking of cold, a 2% gain. However, it turns out the profit was minimal. His friend tries to convince Jerry to invest in stocks, promising higher returns. However, Jerry disagrees. He's afraid of losing his money. For him, stocks are like gambling. Finally, he decides to launch his boat, but due to inexperience and carelessness, he forgets to put on the handbrake and almost falls into his car. At the last moment, he manages to get out of the water, but accidentally burns out the boat's engine. Feeling quite nervous, Jerry decides to calm down with coffee at the nearest cafe. He overhears the investor talking about the wind lottery. It's when the jackpot reaches 2 million, and no one matches 6 numbers. Then, the jackpot is rolled out to people who match 3 or 4, it doesn't matter. And he discovers an advertisement for the wind lottery. After reading the rules, Jerry, with his exceptional skills, starts calculating the odds of success on a backpack, and discovers there's a loophole in the lottery they can win. He tells Steve about his discovery, but Steve doesn't believe him. He's convinced the creators wouldn't allow money to be obtained so easily. Then Jerry explains. In a typical drawing, you have a 1 in 54 chance of winning by matching 3 of 6 numbers, and a 1 in 1,500 chance of winning by matching 4. The odds are that you lose each time. When there's only one number to match to win, the prize money exceeds the upfront cost of buying the lottery tickets. Steve doesn't believe it and says it's all crazy. Winning the lottery is impossible. Without consulting his wife, Jerry decides to test his hypothesis. He withdraws $2,000 from his bank account. It's probably 20% more than that. That's good. See you later? Okay. The next day, thinking about the victory, he goes to the local shop and buys the lottery tickets with the money up front. 2,000 victory tickets, 2,000. Yes, ma'am. On the evening of the parade, Jerry went to check his tickets, but unfortunately, Marge returned home. He wanted to test his theory first, and then tell her. She is surprised that her husband is watching the lottery. But Jerry turns off the television, pretending to be indifferent, saying it was an accident. When his wife leaves, Jerry turns off the television and writes down the numbers drawn on it. He sits down in the cafe, checks his tickets, and realizes he's lost. During a meeting with guests, Jerry gets so engrossed in his thoughts about the lottery that he forgets to continue the conversation, and even confuses the deck of cards they're playing. Oh, the old house. We're playing gin. Oh. They say goodbye to their friends, and Marge notices her husband's strange behavior. Sitting with him on the doorstep, she starts a conversation about luck. Jerry suddenly realizes that the reason for the loss was the element of luck he hadn't factored into his calculations. He was relieved to have figured out what had caused the problem. The next day, he went back to the bank and spoke with the clerk. He explained that there should be more lottery tickets to eliminate the element of chance. This time, he spends $8,000, all his savings, and buys more lottery tickets. In the morning, Jerry eats at a cafe with his wife and friends, who share that they bought some lottery tickets, trying their luck. Marge, on the other hand, says that she and her husband don't like risky ventures where they can lose money. His friends accompany him, telling stories of crazy people who lose thousands of dollars on these games. Listening to his wife and friends, Jerry starts to slouch over his food, realizing that he himself is one of those crazy people. The next day, checking the lottery results, Jerry learns that he has won $15,000. That's almost double the amount he spent on the tickets. He can't believe it. Going back home, he goes to the bank and takes bags of cash out of his shoes, which he hides in an apple bag. The next day, the family gathered in the garden. He said nothing about the victory, but his secret was almost revealed by his granddaughter, who wanted lunch. Jerry never managed to get the apple bag out of the girl's possession and hid the money in another apple bag. That same night, Jerry's secret is revealed by his wife. Not understanding her outrage over food, he casually mentions that he played the lottery and won, but to his surprise, Marge doesn't blame him for his gambling. "I play the lottery," she says. Wow. On the contrary, she's very happy to have her own maintenance. And finally, after several years, they'll be able to have fun together and enjoy themselves. They waited 40 years for their retirement. When the couple decides to buy tickets for all 15,000 they have, they learn that the lottery has closed in their country. And now, to buy tickets, they have to go to their neighbors in Massachusetts. They go to Steve's office to find the nearest lottery outlets to Windfall. Steve, overhearing their conversation, wants to join them too. He offers $1,000. The elderly couple is filled with enthusiasm and undaunted by difficulties. Waking up early, they set off on their journey. Before reaching the nearby country, Jerry and Marge stop at a gas station where they get lucky and find a lottery machine. "I'll buy them first." "How can you help me?" "We want to buy 8,000 Windfall tickets." "I'll buy yours first." Unfortunately, they have to stay until the afternoon because the machine prints 1,000 tickets per hour. The vendor lets Jerry operate the ticket marker himself. After checking a hotel for the night, the couple watched the lottery results on TV and began checking the 8,000 tickets they had bought. After working through them until morning, they calculated they had won $21,000. They simply congratulated me. Back home, Marge comes up with the idea of getting more people into the lottery to increase their prizes. Together with Jerry, they decide to start their own business. To begin, they invite their friends and the townspeople they've known for many years. Some offer alternative forms of payment, such as a quad bike instead of cash. The entrance fee for each participant is only $500. The citizens like their idea, and the next time Jerry and Marge visit the gas station, they buy tickets for $40,000. A shop assistant named Bill is surprised by where the elderly couple got that kind of money. Marge explains that they are professional lottery players, but this time, the ticket check-in takes until morning, and the station shuts down. So Jerry suggests that Bill become a participant and earn money. "Bill, I'd like to introduce you to the strategies I'm in. Can I be in?" In the end, Bill also becomes a member of their investment club. He tells his friends, and they become participants too. "Hey, I have 2 more partners. One of them has to rob the house right away, but he's definitely in." That's over 500 tickets. Tonight, in the lobby, they look at the program again and start checking the tickets, but not immediately. The following morning, Bill arrives and says there's no need to count the tickets because, after the drawing, the shop will receive a printout of the number of tickets sold. And only the 2 of them bought tickets. They discover that their quantity has doubled, and now totals 80,000. Jerry and Marge don't stop there, and continue buying tickets with the total quantity, doubling their savings and their savings after each lottery. "Well, we doubled. We doubled." Meanwhile, at Harvard University, a student named Tyler is conducting research on the lottery, calculating the odds of success. After running a simulation of the drawing, he concludes that there is a 100% chance of winning. The student decides to collect money from the dorm students and play the lottery. He assures everyone that he's the first to come to this scheme, promising they'll all become legends who won the lottery. Everyone listens and believes him. You don't have any money? No, I'm loaded. The next day, Jerry takes out boxes of lottery tickets and stores them in the garage so that, if the tax authorities come, he can count them. That evening, he has a meeting with investors who want to show the profit figures. But people aren't too interested in hearing the numbers, and they all head to the dining room to eat. The next day, Jerry, Marge, and Steve meet at a coffee shop where they discuss buying $600,000 worth of tickets to get as much money as possible from the lottery. Jerry realizes the button will close soon, and, while there's an opportunity, they have to win. We need to make as much money as we can while we can. Take the festival and rebuild it before it comes back. Meanwhile, at the lottery company office, one of the employees brings a report to management saying there should only be 5 winners of more than $50,000 per year. But here, there's a big winner every 3 weeks. Did they win this month? Yes. But who has 10 hours every month to play the lottery in a different state? Yes, it doesn't make any sense. That's true. The Harvard students also won. However, one of the students, Eric, realizes that the winner should be higher. After checking all the lottery data, he discovers that a large amount of money is also being drawn from another location. He hacks into the lottery database and knows exactly where the products are being sold. The guys realize there's a second group of people profiting from the lottery. A new batch of tickets is being sold. Jerry and Marge print them at the gas station to celebrate their 46th birthday. It was easier when I was 16. You look even more beautiful now. At that moment, Tyler and Eric enter the establishment. They begin to hide to the side of the elderly couple as if they wanted to meet a criminal group first. The guys offer the older people the chance to join their group instead of playing separately, but Jerry refuses. Marge laughs at the students. Students say that at Harvard, they study more serious subjects, but Jerry replies, "The binomial distribution only considers 2 factors, not a third, which is human appearance, or a fourth, which is how long it takes you to fill out the tickets. You earn a cool $32 for every $100,000 you earn. You're welcome. Seriously, calm down." In the end, they refuse the offer, and the guys walk away. The next day, we see Jerry's investors. The gas station attendant is getting a divorce and drives off in a new car, which drives his ex-wife into a rage. The farmer buys space to sell his produce, and Steve buys a new Lamborghini. I bought a Corvette. Yes, I see that. At that moment, we see the gas station again, where the same employee shares the news of Jerry's multi-million-dollar win with another boss. However, the boss doesn't react because it's a lottery. People have to win. A few days later, the persistent Tyler arrives in Michigan again and, alone with Jerry, threatens to hack into all his investors' accounts. He assures Jerry that his group will have no trouble finding information on everyone involved in the win. He asks Jerry to stop with the lottery because he's already made enough money. They hacked into the state lottery to find out where you were counting. Don't you think they can hack into your accounts, your credit, your identity? The man realizes that continuing with the lottery is risky, and during a meeting with investors, Jerry announces that they're pulling out. You're really going to let some guys from the university send you all that? The risks of him doing something apply to the profits. It's not about mathematics, it's about humanity. However, after speaking with his son and wife, the man decides not to retire, but to continue playing. Tyler learns that Jerry hasn't left the game, and that the Massachusetts Purchase is starting again. He comes up with a plan where his group buys the tickets first and intercepts the distribution early. But if you create a scenario where no one expects him, if you accept it, you'll pull the other players into trouble. We use our hack to track the pot. We wait for $1 million to arrive before a drawing and spend €1 million in one day. But for that, he needs a large flow of money. He turns to his partners, who are willing to invest their money in the student's idea. Later, Bill visits Jerry and says the design is ready today, not in a few weeks. The students have succeeded in bringing their design to fruition. Jerry understands everything and quickly goes to Harvard, where he chastises all the students to help them become richer, while doing nothing in return and sharing in the gains. After all, he always paid small dividends, while he himself made huge profits. When Jerry leaves, the students stop filling out lottery tickets. Jerry concludes that since management knows about the wins and does nothing, it means they're not interested. Together with Marge, they meet with the board of directors. He asks them to make the jackpot amount transparent, so all participants can see it, thus avoiding the distribution of the prize money. He also requests 2 spring machines. The board agrees. The students note that the site has changed and that the jackpot amount is displayed. Then Tyler says they're going to hack the site. When he arrives at the room, he sees that none of the students are there because they didn't refuse to work with him. At the same time, Boston Globe reporter Maya Jordan discovers that Jerry and Tyler are victims of lotteries. She visits the resident, and he shows her his boxes filled with tickets. He explains that he doesn't want to spend days and nights with his wife checking the tickets. That's what makes him happy. With his words, he surprised the woman. The editor of the Boston Globe requests an article, but she discovers that Jerry and his investors are spending their winnings on development. The day arrives when Jerry and Marge decide to play one last time. The winnings will be enough to rebuild the city. When they arrive at the gas station, as usual, they notice the lottery ticket machines are shutting down. They learn that the lottery management refused their license after a newspaper article exposed the game's vulnerability. The article was published, but it was about Tyler because he had made money. The newspaper article, with Tyler's picture, catches his father's eye, and he arrives at the university to take him and force him to take care of himself and leave with him. High-volume betting groups discovered an error in the game and gained a multi-million-dollar advantage. Lottery officials expressed surprise at the discovery and announced they would phase out the game after that evening. That night, Jerry and his wife are waiting for an investors' meeting and are surprised by the opening of a jazz festival in town, organized by locals. The citizens confided that on the last day, they went to every store in the country where they hadn't yet picked up a lottery machine and bought all the tickets. They were all grateful to Jerry for what he had done for them and the town. The film ends with Jerry and Marge dancing as they slipped away from the festival to count the profits from the lottery tickets. They spent most of the money improving their town, and like many of their friends and neighbors, they invested in the education of their children and grandchildren. Meanwhile, the salesman, Bill, built the most comfortable man cave for himself. During their participation in the lottery, Jerry won $27 million. This film is based on real events.